Hello, and welcome to Your Vote Counts, a public service program for the Special District's May 16th election being produced by Capital Community Media via remote technology and the League of Women Voters, Marion Polk Counties. All candidates for the Salem-Keizer School Board were invited, and we will be hearing from 5 of the 6 in our interviews. Candidates were asked to prepare a 2-minute opening statement telling about themselves, their qualifications, and why they chose to run for the office. I'm Cindy Condon, your moderator from the League of Women Voters, and I would like to introduce candidate Casity Troutt to share her opening remarks. Casity Troutt is a candidate for Salem-Keizer School Board Zone 2. And thank you for joining us today, Casity.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. And now on to your opening remarks.
Perfect. Well, yes, I am Casity Troutt. I am a mom, a wife, and a small business owner here in Salem-Keizer. We've got 2 kiddos that are in Salem-Keizer schools. We are a large blended family, so we've got 5 kids all together. Very exciting and lots going on all the time. I've always been involved in my kids' education from the time they were in kindergarten, from volunteering in their classes to volunteering for field trips. And I've always enjoyed to see how my children are growing, how they're learning, and I've always been so welcomed. I started to become very involved at the school board level about 2 years ago, whenever my son started high school. I got a bit of pushback on my involvement, and it was not perceived very well. Instead of being welcomed with open arms, I was more questioned on why I was there and what role I had in my children's education. And, that really encouraged me to help parents fight for their place in their child's education and become a part of it, because I truly believe that families and parents are the backbone of their children's education, and we need to make sure that all families are included.
Well, and thank you for that. And thanks for sharing that information with us. And can I ask where the kids are going to school? Are they throughout elementary through high school?
Yes, so we've got 2 of them here in Salem-Keizer. My oldest is over at McKay, and my middle is at J. Gems, which is Jane Goodall Environmental Middle School, a charter here through the district. And then I've got 2 of my stepkids who are up in Tigard, and then my youngest is 9, and she's at a private school currently.
Okay, well, thank you again for sharing that information. And now, candidate Troutt, we'll have an opportunity to address questions of concern to the community. These questions for our candidate today were developed in collaboration with the NAACP, the AAUW, and the League members. Candidates did not receive questions ahead of this interview. There are 9 questions prepared, and the candidate may answer as many of those as possible in the time available today. The candidate's responses to the individual questions will not be timed. And so now to our first question. Actually, I guess it will be my second question, given my question about the schools. So getting to the nuts and bolts today, could you describe your understanding of the role of the school board and school board members and how it is different than that of the superintendent and staff?
Absolutely. So from my understanding, we are a policy governance board, which means we set the tone for the district. Our only employee on the school board is the superintendent. So the school board would get together and decide, which direction we want our schools to go in, if we need to raise our graduation rates, if we need to focus on safety, what the issues are within our schools. And then we pass that information to our superintendent, who is responsible for creating the avenues to make those things possible.
Oh, and so just focusing on tone, would you describe those things as tone?
Yes, and I would also maybe describe it as ambitions, what we want to see. I believe that our district has a lot of bright, amazing children, and we need a school board who is going to push for their success.
Right. Thank you for that. And now moving on, it is in several places, the district policy calls for regular opportunities for public comment and feedback. Sounds like you've had experience with that. And what has the current school board done well in hearing from the public? And what do you think could be improved?
I believe they've done well in the areas of making it known when there are going to be meetings. They've been consistent on staying on the right dates. They don't cancel meetings unless it's absolutely appropriate. However, they have shut down our public school board meetings to the public, so we are not allowed to attend in person. And I really think that that stipends the voice of the people, because sometimes the community doesn't quite have the courage to step up and speak, but they want to be seen. They want the school board to know that they're there, and they want to be able to show that they want a part in their children's education, and they can't do that behind a camera, behind a screen. So I think that our district can improve the way that our school board meetings are ran, holding the participants to a standard and expectations of civility. We do have a problem in our community of civil discourse. We can't have conversations anymore without getting heated and explosive. And that's not productive for anybody. It's not productive for our children. It's not productive for our school system. It's not productive for our school board members. So until we can all come together and speak civilly, then I understand their fears, but it's their responsibility to ensure our safety and ensure open meetings.
And just speaking a little bit to the safety aspect of it, for improvement, what are some of the suggestions you might have for that?
I would say holding the attendees accountable for their behavior, and if they are being disruptive, are being loud, are being disrespectful, to ask those individuals to leave instead of just closing the whole meeting to the people who are there to interact in a respectful manner.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that. So moving on, just a budget question. What will be done to the budget, or what would you suggest be done budgetary-wise, if anything, to address the concerns of student mental health needs and also needs of unsheltered youth?
Absolutely. That is a big problem in our community. Having a teenager, I understand the issues that we have, especially coming out of a pandemic. I don't think that anybody, our parents, our district, our doctors, anybody realized what the outcome of our students would be from the long distance that they had away from their peers. I think that we absolutely need to connect with our county, our city officials. We need to find out what programs are already in place. We need to figure out how we can work with those programs to refer students, and not just students, families, because we can help the student themselves, but unless we address the family as a whole, what we do at school may be erased whenever they go home. And so I think that we really need to focus a lot of our funding on family improvement and family involvement and engagement.
And follow up there. So would your expectation be that the county public health participate in that? It be a collaborative effort, or provided some...
Yes, it needs to be collaborative. We're a community, and the schools can't be everything for our children. We need to be there. We are definitely there first and foremost, front line for help. And we need to grow our resources inside of our schools, but we also need to utilize the resources that are outside and bring those programs in.
Okay, thanks. And could you speak a little bit to, you talked about working with the homes. How about the unsheltered youth?
Yes, it's devastating. I just volunteered a few weeks ago with the Point in Time Count, where we went out and we interviewed homeless, and the families that are, facing these adversities, it's heartbreaking. And we as a community need to do better for them. I don't have the answers on how we do that. I know that it's definitely a multifaceted issue with a lot of different areas that need to be addressed. But in the schools, at least we can start by making sure that our children feel safe, that they have clothes, that they have food, and that they have somebody to talk to whenever they need it.
All right, so thank you. And you have spoke to the superintendent as really the board's employee. And given that, how would you, or what do you believe the direction should be for the superintendent to help the diverse student population we have here in Salem Keizer, and some underachievement in literacy and language acquisition, certainly by so many students these days?
Absolutely. I would say our direction needs to be success. It needs to be raising successful adults. We need a superintendent. We need our superintendent to focus on all of our children graduating, being able to read, being able to understand basic math, and being able to obtain successful, meaningful careers, because our children are our country. They are our community. They're our, city. We have to raise a successful youth in order to have a successful community.
And a follow-up there. So given that superintendents generally, are looking for that success, what do you think is standing in the way of that success today? And maybe if you'd have a suggestion for change in direction, or something doesn't seem to be working to everybody's satisfaction.
Absolutely. I think, again, it is a multifaceted issue. There's a lot of different factors that go into it. I think one of the biggest concerns that I've heard from educators is the amount of time that they're given to focus on the core subjects, and the amount of the overturn of curriculums, and overturn as soon as something starts working, it seems like they have to change and readapt to something else. And so it's really a struggle, not just for our students, but for our educators, to continually have to modify the way that they're teaching, even if they've seen success. And I think, as a mom with 5 kids, I understand that not all child learns the same. Not all child, heals the same. Not all child reacts to adversities the same. And so we really need to rely on our teachers and on our support staff to help identify how children learn, and whatever we can do within our district to make sure that there are multiple ways for kids. Because I'm not the kind of kid that would sit down and read a book for hours and hours and hours. I didn't have the attention span. My son is the same way. He will not pick up a book unless you force him. But you put him out in that auto shop class and he kills it. So we need to make sure that we have opportunities for every type of learner.
Okay, so moving on to the environment of schools as it exists, there's been much in the news about safety for both students and staff. What would you recommend to create a safer environment for students and staff?
Absolutely. Safety is a big concern. Personally, my own child has been assaulted at school. I know numerous teachers who have been assaulted. It's definitely a multifaceted issue, and I know I keep using that word, but man, it seems like everything has so many different aspects that have to be addressed. I know on our high school campuses, the issues might be different than on our middle school campuses and our elementary school campuses. So that's one of the first things that we need to look at, is at each level and each school where the main concerns are. And we need to really laser focus on each environment, because each school has different demographics, different issues, different students, and we need to be able to, really make sure that those children in that community are being addressed in the correct way. I know over at McKay, we have a lot of issues with drugs, with gang violence, with all kinds of things. And so I think that that would be the perfect place to institute SROs back on our campuses. Maybe that's not the case for our elementary schools. Maybe we need more behavior specialists at our elementary level. So, it's really something that we need to look at on a case-to-case basis and school-to-school basis.
And just quick follow-up there. Do you think the individual schools have the resource budget they need to deal on that individual's school level?
Probably not. And I think that's something that needs to be addressed. I think that we definitely need to look at our budget, because when it comes down to it, that's the most important thing. Our kids can't learn if they're not safe, and our teachers can't teach if they're not safe.
All right, thank you for that. And it looks like our time is up for questions. And it seems like that went very, very, very fast. So thank you for those comprehensive answers. And now, Candidate Troutt, if you'd like to make your closing remarks, that'd be great. And please include your public contact information.
Absolutely. Well, I want to first start off by saying thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak to you. I really just want the public to know that I am a parent. I am a mom. I have been on our schools' campuses for years. I see the issues. I want to help all children, not just my own. I want to live in a thriving community. I want my children to have a thriving community. I want them to be successful. And the way that we do that is by implementing families and parents into these leadership positions, because us parents, we know what our children need. We know what they need to succeed, and we want to be partners with our education system to help our children and all children. There are some families that maybe don't have parents who can be as active, whether it's because they're single parents who have to work full time or taking care of other family members. And we need to step up as a community and help those families also. So please, if you have any questions for me, you can go to my website, and that's www.cassityforschools.com. And that's CASITY, little different. You can also email me at info@cassityforschools.com, and I would be more than willing to sit down with anybody in the community. I want to hear all different, perspectives and insights, because this really is a diverse community, and that's one of the best things about our community.
Thank you so much, Candidate Troutt, for this interview today and sharing your thoughts. Thanks also to Capital Community Media for their production and technology skills, to our community groups that provided questions and topics, and to you, the public, for watching this program in order to become a more informed voter. The last day to change or register to vote is April 25th. Ballots go out beginning April 26th and must be received or postmarked by May 16th to be counted. Remember to vote by May 16th, because your vote counts.